Prince Harry's stalker hoax has gone up in flames as King Charles is telling him to stop this madness. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to the Dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this madness, shall we? Because Hazard's stalker hoax has gone up in flames as King Charles is telling him to stop this madness. Now, before we get on to the King's full response to it all, let me lay down a little bit of the groundwork for you. Now, all snaps and claps goes to Royally Sage at Sage1411 for alerting me to this situation in the first place whilst I was in Italy last week. And here's the article. Stalker came within yards of Prince Harry on UK visit. Woman was body blocked by staff of Hazard who wants a full risk assessment of his security arrangements. Now, Royally Sage is saying, I don't believe this for a second. And guess what? Me neither. I thought that this story was some cockamamie way of trying to renew Hazard's attempts to get the security that he feels he deserves from our government, paid by us, the taxpayer. And guess what? It's kind of turned out that way, but we'll get onto that later on in this video. Now, in terms of this whole stalker attempt, whatever the frick you want to call it, right? A little bit more detail here. Now, apparently this stalker got within feet of Hazard during charity events on his trip to the UK last month. Apparently he had multiple encounters, close encounters with this quote-unquote stalker. Apparently she's believed to be struggling from mental health issues, this stalker. And one of the alleged incidents took place on the 9th of September ahead of the Well Child Awards ceremony at the Royal Lancaster Hotel. According to the outlet, this unnamed woman was able to get into the security zone, is what they're putting it. Now, it's suggested that this stalker is actually a member of the Sussex squad. So here we've got Queer Lips of Truth II at QLOT II saying, update and confirmed. It is a member, I'm going to have to say allegedly here, of the Sussex squad. Article says she also travelled down to Nigeria. A member of the Sussex squad described by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's team as a stalker and a person suffering from mental illness was disgraced by the Sussexes. Wow. So Harry and Meghan agree that their fans are stalkers and mentally unstable. Now, who is the stalker in question? Well, apparently it could actually be someone called at H_desires, otherwise known on X as Madam Ambassador. Now here we've got Royally Sage saying the squaddies are out in the stalker using a cleaned up photo. Girl, you were caught red-handed doing a fake security scare at the trial. Don't act like you never do this stuff. We have your photo at the courthouse. Now we all remember that moment where this random woman in court, whilst Hazard was there, stood up, screamed, shouted, made a little bit of a kerfuffle basically in the courthouse within feet of Hazard, right? Well, allegedly, it's the same person now being accused of being the stalker last month in the UK when Hazard was here, right? Now, this alleged stalker has actually put out a statement here. And they're saying the following. The Daily Fail is at it again, using the talking points of deranged people on social media to create a non-story. They have the nerve to send a freelancer to my front door, pretending to be concerned for my well-being. The claim is that I'm being used by Prince Harry's team to get security when he's in the UK. I'm not the person in the photo below. I wasn't even in London during Prince Harry's 4-day visit to the UK. But I am sure the Daily Fail already know that. They thought they would try and be clever and claim that it was Prince Harry's team that threw me under the bus. I've been on social media long enough, and it's the same deranged people who are spreading those rumours for clickbait. The Daily Fail thought that by claiming there's been an injustice against me, I would turn on Prince Harry. Not in this lifetime. If a stalker or a fan makes Prince Harry or Princess Meghan unsafe, then something needs to be done about it. For the record, I've always been invited into Prince Harry and Princess Meghan's space. I would never make them unsafe. Now, just as a little side note, she's showing herself as all kinds of dumb right now because it's not Princess Meghan. If Megxie was to use the princess title, it would actually technically be Princess Henry, because Hazard's first name is actually Henry. So she'd be known as Princess Henry, not Princess Meghan. So, yeah, she's showing herself with all levels of dumb as far as I'm concerned. But, right, a lot of people are saying that this is a stalker hoax because the person pictured close to Hazard in the security zone whilst he was in the UK was a Sussex Squad member, otherwise known as H_Desires on X. Now, as I've just read to you here, she's denying it. She's saying she's not the person in the picture, and that's that, right? Well, yeah. Could this essentially be another Markle hoax that has absolutely gone up in flames? Because the Daily Mirror is turning around and saying that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are not entitled to security despite the stalker scare. So despite who the stalker is, right, whether it is H_Desires, even though she's denied it, right, whether it's another Sussex Squad member or someone else that has a planted to create this stalker hoax or whatever, right, even if it was a real stalker, yeah, they're still not entitled to the level of security that Hazard thinks he feels he needs this, that and the other, right? And to be fair, it doesn't really seem like Hazard and Megxie are really too bothered about this stalker. Seeing as they publicly released a month later since it happened, their New York itinerary for when they were in the city last week. If they were so concerned about this quote-unquote stalker, why are they releasing an itinerary of where they're going to be and what they're going to be doing throughout the day as to when they're in the city? To me, it makes no damn sense. Thing is, though, doesn't matter for Hazard because, as suspected, he's now using this scenario, this quote-unquote, as far as we're concerned, stalker hoax, as an excuse, as an opportunity to push the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, for the level of security he feels he's entitled to. As if a new Home Secretary is going to give him the answer that he wants, because ultimately it's still the same government in charge. And it's still Ravek that's in charge. The government team that decides on who gets the security and who doesn't for members of the royal family. Here we've got that Hazard has formally requested a re-evaluation of security arrangements for visits to the UK, following reports that a known stalker came within feet of Hazard on 2 separate occasions during his last visit to the UK. A source close to Hazard confirmed that he wrote to Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood shortly after her appointment and submitted a formal request for a risk assessment to Ravek, which operates under the Home Office. So he didn't waste any time. As soon as Shabana Mahmood was announced as the new Home Secretary, he took that as an opportunity to try and renew his attempts to try and get the level of security he feels he's entitled to. He wasted no time whatsoever. It's absolutely disgusting. As Angela Levin, though, says here, Prince Harry was pleading to see his father and see him more regularly, or so it was said. At last they met. Now, however, he's put all that aside to try to get Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood to get him round-the-clock protection. It shows what he really feels about the king. And yeah, let's get on to King Charles, because it's being reported that Hazard's renewed effort is actually complicating matters with his father. As Roya Nicker, the royal editor for the Sunday Times, says here, the Duke of Sussex renewed security battle with the government complicates things for the king and risks derailing Prince Hazard's reconciliation with Charles. And so King Charles has responded to Hazard's plan to try and renew his security fight. And this is what a royal source is saying. The king cannot and will not lobby. That's inappropriate. His representatives cannot advocate for policy outcomes, particularly in relation to his own family. The royal household representative on the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, Ravik, overseen by the Home Office, is not there to advocate a position for a member of the royal family. They are purely there as a liaison to the household. In other words, stop this madness. They're independent. They've made their decision. It's done. You appealed. You went as far as you could go legally with all of this. You were still shot down in freaking flames. So it's done. Over. Kibosh. End. Now. And so, yeah, this whole initial story of, oh my goodness, a stalker came within feet of Hazza in the security zone, blah, 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 blah. Well, firstly, he needs to really kind of be like, yeah, whoever was hired to protect Hazza on that day, firstly need to be fired. Because anyone that went into the security zone that shouldn't have been there, that's on the security guys, right? First and foremost. Have I heard of any of those security guys being fired as a result? No. Why is that? Interesting, right? They didn't do their job if someone came into the security zone that shouldn't have been there in the first place. Generally speaking, when you don't do your job right, you make a huge mistake like that, shouldn't you be fired because of it in the end? Well, I ain't heard of anyone being fired because of it, have you? Now, this whole scenario has turned into, well, hang on a minute, was it really a stalker or not? People are looking at it as some kind of stalker hoax. Digging deeper. Thinking, hang on a minute, is this a member of the Sussex squad? Is this H_Desires? It certainly looks like her. Now, H_Desires has turned around and said it's not her. However, people are not convinced. And no one is falling for it. Because it's not a coincidence that as soon as this story of a stalker hoax, right, comes into play, that then Hazza is running to the new Home Secretary, asking them to reconsider his request for the security that he feels he's entitled to. It's as if, right, we may be in a scenario where Hazza creates this stalker situation to try and bolster his opinion, to try and reignite his fight for the security he feels he deserves from the government, or should I say, from us, the taxpayer. It's not going to work. As the king has said right at the end through the royal source, there's nothing he can do. Ravik is independent. Ravik have made their decision. You're not getting the security you feel you deserve. You're going to get the security they feel is appropriate. You don't like it? Tough. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and of course there's going to be more, then make sure you subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe here at Stef The Alter Nerd. If you're watching on X, make sure you follow me at Stef Alter Nerd for more misadventures of the gruesome twosome. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Do you think this is a stalker hoax? And what do you think to the king's response to all of this? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I appreciate all your faces. And until the next time, you guys, laters.